For all you grandhoppers out there, this podcast is for you.
Hey guys, this is the Fan of Fan podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Topless, and for all you grandhoppers out there, this podcast is for you. And tonight we're back with our thoughts. This time we're going to talk about the Champions League final between Manchester City and Chelsea. Ben, we'll start with you, mate.
So it's two English teams, which some people will be happy with if they're pro-English clubs, and there'll be some people what won't want any team to win, especially the rivals.
Yeah.
And Chelsea looking to win their second European title, and Manchester City looking to win their first one. So it makes for a good final. First thing I want to talk about is the venue. So it should have been in Istanbul, and then it changed to Lisbon, where it's going to be at now. But what's your thoughts on that? Do you think it should be changed? Do you think Wembley could have had it? I know there was speculation in terms of a clash with the playoff final, but I think the playoff final could have been moved. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's all to do with the green list, isn't it? Really. I mean, everyone's got to follow the rules. Footballers or not, they'll have to quarantine when they get back if they went to Turkey. Wembley's always a good venue. Well, Wembley's not far off the home of football. It's always going to be a good venue. So, yeah, it's a shame that it's not at Wembley. But if there's that many games coming up at Wembley, they're going to have to take some serious work to make the ground stable enough for it. And, you know, the Champions League final is the biggest game out of all the other games that Wembley's got. And if the pitch isn't right, then Wembley is going to be under serious criticism from the press and UEFA. So it's really important that's right. I would have liked to have seen it at Istanbul. Yeah, I think, you know, it was scheduled to be there this year. I think we'd all would have liked to have seen it be in Istanbul this year, but if they can't do it for COVID reasons, then they're going to have to not do it. Is it Porto's ground they're doing it at?
Yeah, Lisbon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was it might be Sport.
Porto's not Lisbon, no.
Yeah. I'm sure
it was Lisbon last year.
Right.
They moved it to Lisbon last year. It should have been St. Petersburg last year. Then it got moved to Lisbon at the last minute, and now it's in Portugal again at Porto's ground. They've got a good ground, Porto. I just feel for the fans.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Again, now there's lots of travelling, and I believe even if you're travelling there, there's rumours that you may have to come straight back on the same day, which, if it's true, may spoil the occasion.
Yeah, I mean, I bet people that have been to the Champions League final last night at Penistone when I was there, you know, Ian, in our chat, I met him. He went to Kiev and Madrid. It's not just the game. It's the before the game. You see how all the fans are singing in the square in Madrid? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's that. It's not just the game. It's before the pre-match build-up. I mean, I watched the documentary of Istanbul, One Night in May it was called. And you saw all the fans, you know, jumping, saying, Rafa Benitez and all that. It's all that and getting to the game and after. It's that builds up, not just going to the game, coming back. I mean, you can't celebrate on the plane, can you?
Yeah. After a quick look at it as well, you are right. So I don't know where I got Lisbon from. Apologies. But yeah, again, it's like even with the Euros, and if you look at the sort of fan zones what they put out, and you look at, say, for example, if we look at Sheffield, and you go back when Kieran Trippier were taking the penalty, and you go, what's the name where everyone was? What with the big screen, where everyone was outside near the skate park, Devonshire Green. That's it. If you look back at Devonshire Green, how packed it was. Just watching a football game and the scenes when they scored, will that be the same here? Especially now, yes, you are allowed back in pubs, but you still have to sit down. And it's one of those. Is that going to dent the celebration for the team what wins?
Well, fans are going to go out into the streets no matter what. That's going to happen. It's happened already. In protest and in celebration. It's going to happen. Of course it is, whoever wins it. In the pubs, it will be different, unfortunately, for them. You won't get packed pubs all stood up like that. We were cramped in at Dev Green that night. So it won't be the same either way. A fan's going to go, full stop. I mean, like I say, if it's at Wembley, both sets of fans would sell out instantly. But then they've got to get a flight. That, by the way, I've seen in the news lately that have been cancelled from Portugal for families. So, you know, is it worth it for the fans if they can't go? It'd be a tremendous shame. But then again, Bayern and PSG fans had to deal with it last season.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's a shame that the whole season has been behind closed doors, but it is good to see now that some fans are starting to come back, and hopefully next season they should be full capacity. I know Sheffield United, they've started selling season tickets, and I'm sure other teams in and around the leagues will be on that shortly. But there was one person said this, as we spoke about, if it was to be played at Wembley and it moves the playoff final, yes, the Champions League is probably one of the biggest club games in the world. It's obviously up there with the World Cup on the international stage and the Euros on the international stage, but for the club game, the Champions League is the best of the best. But if they was to move the playoff games, do you think that disrespects those as well? Because the playoffs is still something to play for the teams. Like for example, if it's Barnsley or Swansea, whoever gets into the playoff final in the Championship, that means something to that fan base. Just because they're not in the elite, does it disrespect those clubs?
I do, man. I do think it disrespects them a little bit. I don't think it's a total disrespect, because I don't think fans have moaned if you're like, oh, can't go to Wembley, we're going to Old Trafford. That wouldn't be too bad. In a way, it'd be like, you know, Wembley is still the pinnacle. You'd still rather go to Wembley than go to an Old Trafford, an Anfield, or a Stamford Bridge, or a Tottenham. He would still rather go to Wembley. So I do think it disrespects him, especially now that fans are going to be let back in as well, because I think each Championship, League One, League Two clubs are going to allow a section of fans in. So, yeah, I think you've got to keep every playoff final at Wembley, for sure.
And again, that could be that's the player's dream. Not only is it to play at the World Cup, but it's also to play at the best venues in the stadium. And Wembley's,
it's fans' hope as well.
Yep, it's Wembley's up there, one of the best stadiums in the world.
Definitely.
A lot of players will want to play that, and being in a playoff final may be their only chance to ever play at Wembley. So, it could have took that away if it was to go through, but it's one of those. It like you said, it's gone to a nation with the green system in terms of the UK, so fans can travel, which is good. But it probably could have been a lot closer to home.
It could have, but I don't think playing at Villa Park was a good idea, though. I wasn't too keen on that. I know Villa Park's an iconic venue, but I just weren't sore on that one.
Yeah, I just
didn't feel like if it went at Villa Park, it wouldn't have felt like European Cup. No disrespect to Villa Park. It is significantly smaller. It's a nice ground. I've not been myself yet, but I'd love to go there. It's really high on the hit list. But for the European Cup final, I mean, you wouldn't have Villa Park hosting any European Cup final anytime soon, I don't think. I don't think they're behind your wafers list. I mean, I know Old Trafford's done it before. That would have been a better option. But yeah.
I do think, having been in Villa Park, and I've actually been in 3 stands, because we had a top tier behind the goal in the FA Cup final, and then the last 2 times I've been on the stands, but we've sort of had the top tier and sort of a bottom tier where we've been stood. So I think once you go to Villa Park, you'll realise how iconic of a ground it is. And I always said, especially it was the Championship season we went, that's the last time we managed to go. It was the best ground of the Championship by miles. Yeah,
I can believe that.
Definitely. And obviously we didn't get to go in the Premier League because of the COVID hit season, but it is up there with one of the greats of England. And it's I do agree. Would it downgrade the Champions League? I'm not too sure. It would have been good to see something different in terms of it, but I do think it would have had to have been sort of at Wembley for it to probably stay in England.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it feels more like Europe when they have to go to another European country as well. So yeah, we'll give them that one.
So if we go to the head-to-head, now this is going to be the 4th time Manchester City play Chelsea this year. It's currently 2-1 in the favour of Chelsea. Yep. Chelsea won 2-1 the other week against them after being a goal down. They won in the FA Cup, but at the start of the season, Manchester City won 3-1. So overall, if you're going on current record, you probably say that could stem Chelsea to be in favour. But at the same time, if you're also going to look on current record, since they last played each other, Chelsea's gone on to lose in another final at Wembley. And Manchester City are now on a high because they've just gone and secured the Premier League. So there's swings and roundabouts since that game's been played.
Yeah.
Who do you favour the most?
Well, I know I want to win, but I think City are going to win. They're resting players and still winning games, let's be honest. I think if Chelsea win that FA Cup final, I think the pressure eases on them a little bit. So, well, we've won a trophy, lads, you know, there's that sort of thing. Now they've lost it when they were favourites. I think that could put a bit of pressure on them. City, they're always going to have pressure on them because they've never been this far in European competition. This is their holy grail. You know, this is their Liverpool Premier League. This Man City's is the Champions League.
Definitely, yeah.
Guardiola's won it before. He'll have experience. Tuchel lost in the final last year. He's going to want revenge. I just think City are going to edge it. I just think they're going to be too strong for them. I know Chelsea have beaten twice already. They know how to beat them, but I think the third time, I can just see City turning them over. What do you think?
Well, again, if you look at Pep Guardiola's record in finals, he's been in 15 finals and he's won 14. The only managers to beat him in a final is Jose Mourinho.
That was the Copa del Rey 2012, weren't it?
Yes. And this is, again, when we look back, when we spoke about the Carabao Cup, how it was odd timing to sack Mourinho because he's the only manager to beat Guardiola in the final.
Yeah.
And I do think, like you said, the experience of winning the Champions League and the rest of the players, I do think there should be a full strength Man City side. I'm also believe that Conte is going to miss the Champions League final through injury, which I believe if that is the case, and if it is true, that's a big match for Chelsea. A big miss.
That's bad.
And he's a crucial
they've got
player.
a chance.
So that benefits Manchester City. I'm the same. I like Chelsea, and it would be good to see Chelsea win a second title. And as much as they have improved under Thomas Tuchel, Lampard did actually do fairly well in the Champions League and got him out. He got him to the round of 16 before he obviously got sacked. So, would they have got this far with Lampard? I guess we'll never know. But Thomas Tuchel's took on the team and got him here. And beating the teams what they have, arguably could have been the underdogs in the semi-final. But I do think they're going to be, even though they've won a Champions League and Man City it's the first time, I do think Chelsea are going to be heading into this big underdogs.
Yeah.
I do also think
I don't, lost for words a little bit, but I don't think they'd have got this far with Lampard. That's one thing I would say. I'd probably say quarter final might have been best for Lampard. If that's being honest. I thought they were really poor at the time. I just think he lacks that little bit of experience in Europe.
I saw
in the FA Cup final last year when they got 1-0 up. They didn't know what to do. They got 1-0 up, and then they backed off and also went on to win that game. So I think he lacks that little bit of experience in the big games for me. So, I wouldn't have said so far with Lampard.
Yeah. But again, with Lampard, he got Derby to the playoff final. And again, technically lost the final.
Yeah.
And like you just mentioned, he got Chelsea to the FA Cup final, which he then went on to go and lose. So his record in finals isn't the greatest. So I think that Pep Guardiola would have out-tactic, master plan Lampard. But again, Thomas Tuchel, like we've touched on, he's currently lost the last two finals he's been in as well, in terms of the Champions League final with PSG. Arguably lost to the best team in the world that season. I think you can't stop Bayern, you can't stop Lewandowski. And again, I think the FA Cup final was probably a big factor because Chelsea was the favourites. Leicester, they've been in 4 finals before and lost the ball. So, and this is the thing, Leicester deserved it. It was a great goal that won it, but overall they did deserve it.
They did deserve it. A goal worthy of winning any game, that is.
Definitely.
As well. Definitely. But I agree. I mean, Thomas Tuchel's record's got to win someday. Make no mistake. Klopp had a bad record. He won the Champions League. It can happen. I'm a firm believer in stats are made to be broken. But I still just think that, that team City, I just think they're going to be too strong, especially going to be players fresh, unless they suffer any injuries in the last few games. What's your score prediction going to be?
I do think both teams will score.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't see seeing it going past the 90. I don't think there'll be any extra time. I don't think there'll be any penalties.
Oh, really?
I like for that because it's always good to see it go that far, and especially from a neutral. But I'm going to go with 2-1 City. I think City will win it 2-1.
Who's going to score?
Phil Foden.
Okay.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
And for Chelsea, I'm going to go with Pulisic.
Okay.
Or Mason Mount, maybe.
You see, I disagree. I think it will go to extra time. I'm going to say it's going to be Man City 1, Chelsea 0 after extra time. And I'm going to say, written in the stars, Sergio Aguero's going to score.
That would be a good outcome.
I think that's possible. He's going to get played. It's his last game.
Yeah, it's his last game.
Goals.
There was a quote as well. I can remember seeing this. Sergio Aguero says he doesn't want to leave Manchester City until he's won a Champions League trophy. Yeah, and it's destined for him that the last game he'll play for Man City is in the Champions League final. Mm-hmm. Will what he says come true, or will he leave not winning a Champions League trophy?
Well, I do want Chelsea to win, so I hope so. But I don't think he will. I think he will win it.
And again, in terms of Man City, I do think going forward, both Chelsea and Man City, they both know how to score goals. They're both creative. You've got Kevin De Bruyne, you got Aguero, you've got your Ferran Torres, who's been doing well, Mahrez, Gundogan, Sterling. You've got all this talent for Manchester City going forward.
Not just going forward at the back. You've probably got one of the best centre halves in the world at the moment, Ruben Diaz.
Yeah,
John Stones, who's in form of his life as well. I mean,
yeah. But this is the thing. As much as I do think going forward Chelsea can match that, I do think Chelsea's defence is a little bit more weaker than Man City's.
Yeah.
And if Conte is injured, I think they have lost a big defensive-minded midfielder who can cover. So I feel like it's just going to be a test of who's going to put the ball in the back of the net first. We'll go on to win it.
Yeah.
But overall, I hope it is a much better Champions League final than the last All-English final we had. Again, Liverpool got the job done really early. As soon as you got that penalty in the first few minutes, only you need to do is sit back and get Spurs on the counter. But
yeah,
I do hope, as a neutral myself, that it will be an entertaining Champions League final. Yeah, I know any Chelsea fans, what we know it, and Man City fans we know, they'd be happy to score one goal and sit back for 90 minutes. But sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. And
exactly, yeah.
If we go back to the FA Cup game, you could argue that the way Sergio Aguero approached his penalty and the way he missed it, that had a big impact on the result. You know, that's the difference between staying at 1-0 and going 2-0 up. If you go 2-0 up, I think Chelsea don't come back into it. I think if you're going 1-0, you're still one goal behind, anything can happen. Get back to 1-1, confidence grew. And Chelsea was a better team in that second half. Deserved to probably win in the end. But I do think I'm going to go with Man City. I'm sticking with 2-1.
Okay. Well, we've got differing score lines and what we think will happen. Well, none of us think it'll go to penalties, which I do think these games do let defences have to close out a lot more. But I just think, extra time. It's happened before. I think it could happen again between the two sides. But I don't think it'll go to penalties either. But as you say, though, I hope it's not. I hope we do get an entertaining game. I mean, imagine if it were 4-4.
That would be great.
Oh man, we'd all be loving it, wouldn't we?
Yeah. And this is the thing. For the last few years, it's not been that exciting. All right, we had Bayern PSG last year, but I think everyone knew Bayern were going to win. They were the favourites. The year before, Liverpool was the favourites. The year before, Real Madrid was the favourites against Liverpool.
They were.
So, arguably, I feel like one of probably the final I enjoyed the most, in recent years, there's probably the Real Madrid versus Juventus.
It was a great game.
Yeah, and especially when Mandzukic, overhead kick, made it 1-1. I thought, wow, now we've got a game here. And I feel like that's probably the best final we've had in years. So hopefully we get another one soon.
Absolutely. I mean, they get goals in the Premier League, Man City, Chelsea, but this is a whole new ball game. I mean, I know Chelsea have already won the Champions League, but none of these players have won it. Were in that team, were they? So,
no,
you're essentially all playing for your first titles, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even though Chelsea have got one, but none of these players were in that team. I mean, if Lampard was in charge, then he would have been. But yeah. But between them, how many Champions League winners have they got? Man City's obviously got Pep. I mean, I can't think who else has won the Champions League.
It's off of my head.
Gundogan. No, I think Gundogan has now.
Raheem Sterling's not. No.
No.
Aguero. No.
No. De Bruyne hasn't either.
No.
I don't think Diaz has or Edison.
No.
It's a tough one.
What about who was Benjamin Mendy at before?
I think he was at a French team, weren't he?
Yeah, so probably no
they haven't done well in a while.
Yeah, Walker. No.
Yes, I don't think any of them have won it. I think Rodri's even won it off Fernandinho. Fernandinho was in the semi-final.
At the top of my head, I can't think of anyone. But
what about Chelsea then? Tuchel's been in a final.
Thiago Silva, he's been in the final last year as well. PSG.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
I'm not too sure about I can't remember what year Aspilicueta joined Chelsea to see if I don't think he was there in 2012 when they won it.
I think Aspilicueta joined the season after. Might have been that summer. I think I can't remember off the top of my head. I think he joined when Hazard joined. Yeah.
Giroud, maybe.
He's won the Europa.
Yeah. Well, Chelsea have won he won it with Chelsea, I believe.
Yeah.
So that team has won it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have a few who's won the Europa League, but this is the next level now. This is the big one.
Yeah. There's got to be at least one player we've missed out. What will have played in the final, but I'm sure there was someone in the comments screaming, "This player, this player, this player."
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, I can't think of one. Timo Werner, you could say, got to this. Did he play in the semi-final last year though for RB Leipzig?
I think Chelsea might have already signed her at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting affair, I think, this final.
Yeah. But again, like I touched on at the start, there's going to be some fans what won't be bothered what team wins. To be fair, whoever wins, I'm not too bothered about. Like I said, I have a favourite who I think who I'd want to win, and I have obviously an opinion who I think will win.
Yeah.
But overall, which team does win, it's not going to affect me whatsoever because they're not rivals to the team I support. Whereas,
it's to me,
if you're a Liverpool fan, you're not going to want Manchester City to win it.
No way.
If you're a Spurs fan, you're not going to want Chelsea to get a second, or Arsenal won't want Chelsea to get a second.
No, Arsenal definitely won't. No.
But will it be the second time it comes back to London? I guess time will tell.
It will indeed.
Right, guys. So this has been our thoughts on the Champions League final. Let us know what you think your predictions is going to be. And you can tweet us, write in the comments below. And we'll see 29th of this month.
Yeah,
who's going to be the Champions League winners.
Don't say it very often, but come on, Chelsea.
Right, guys. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time. Ta-da.
Goodbye.